Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. We are all in tonight with Alexandra Levine. I just want to say happy Passover, or happy belated Passover, everybody. Happy belated Easter to everybody. I hope you all had a great time. I can tell you President Trump did too. Here's the first image. And for the first time back in 4 years, there is the FLOTUS with the POTUS and the famous Easter Bunny rabbit with, of course, military right next door. That is a beautiful image that we have missed, that we haven't had in 4 years. And also President Trump made a comment that he didn't have to have the bunny direct him where to go because, as you know, President Trump is with it. It was very beautiful to see President Trump on the White House lawn with young children, with his grandchildren. I know that Don Jr. was there and a lot of other family members of his were there down on the White House lawn. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful sight to see. And this was even great in terms of the First Lady and how she dressed. And we have the second slide with Gunther Eagleman. He wrote, First Lady Melania Trump was a huge upgrade from, quote, Jill Biden, who she claimed was a doctor. Look how beautiful she was in that beautiful trench coat. And she had a gorgeous yellow dress underneath with, of course, her famous Manolo Blahnik shoes. And I can tell you, Melania Trump has inspired me to dress better, to look better. I wear a lot of the designers that she wears. I'm currently wearing an Ivanka Trump dress. Ivanka Trump used to carry her dresses at Dillard's and Nordstrom's and at Steinmart. And those women have just inspired me to look better. And when you look better, you feel better. It's all about presentation. And it's so nice that we have beauty back at the White House. And the theme of this Easter celebration was bringing religion back to the White House, making religion great again. As you know, President Trump always talked about bringing Judeo-Christian values back. And that's what he does. That's what he continues to do on a daily basis. But as you know, I was the national faith leader for President Trump. I was on every single conference call in regards to faith. And I was on the conference calls in regards to the Abraham Accords with Jared Kushner and Jason Greenblatt and Rick Grinnell and so forth, and Peter Navarro. And we talked all about how we need to bring Judeo-Christian values back. And this is what President Trump did at this Easter roll. It was so beautiful to have the celebration of Passover and the celebration of Easter happen around the same time, just like we had Christmas and Hanukkah happening around the same time this year. And it's, of course, very important that we have religion back into our country, that we have people practicing, that people look up to Hashem or Jesus, whoever you pray to. And that I hope that everybody celebrated either Passover or Easter this year. And again, Nick Sorter, we'll put up the next slide. Going back, President Trump announces he's putting up 2 massive American flags at the White House. So not only are we having Judeo-Christian values, but we are bringing patriotism back into the White House. I can tell you that President Trump was on the White House lawn the other day, and oh my God, the press was like, they were just running towards him because he was actually pinpointing, because as you know, he's a builder, where he's going to put the American flags. And guess what the beauty part is that President Trump himself is going to pay for the building of these American flags at the White House. He's not taking taxpayer dollars. He's taking it out of his own pocket. And as you know, President Trump does not take a salary as the President of the United States. He's refused. He did that in 2017 as well. He refused to take that salary. So again, it's this theme of patriotism. It's this theme of religion. And of course, Attorney General Pam Bondi, with this next slide, she makes it very known. She said, and we have the next slide, it is past time to end the anti-Christian weaponization of government started by the last administration. I couldn't agree with her more. As per at POTUS's EO, the DOJ held the first task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias meeting today. Thank you to my fellow cabinet members for joining me in the fight to protect the religious freedoms of Christian Americans. I love it. I love the whole thing. Because again, we need to bring back our Judeo-Christian values and get rid of wokeness from the White House. As you know, with Joe Biden, there was a bunch of wokeness in the White House. And Pam Bondi and President Trump and Melania Trump are saying, and even J.D. Vance are saying, no more of this wokeness. Let's bring back Judeo-Christian values to the White House. And as we know, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is doing the exact same thing. But of course, the mainstream media can't give Pete Hegseth a good Easter. They have to attack him. They have to bring up this old Signal chat that they claimed there was classified information on this Signal chat, and this liberal reporter was on there. Now they're saying his wife was on there and this person was on there. And they're like, is President Trump going to keep him? I think his job is on the chopping block. Why is the mainstream media, why is the socialist Democrats so obsessed with getting rid of Pete Hegseth? Is it because he's actually doing his job? Oh my God, God forbid the guy is actually doing his job. It's disgusting. And of course, White House reporters, the mainstream media, was asking Pete Hegseth, are you concerned about your job? Are you concerned about this new thing that the New York Times put out? And he was like, oh, you mean fake news, New York Times, the fake mainstream media, New York Times, the news outlet that continued to push out false information, the Russia hoax and so forth. Oh yeah, I'm really gonna believe that? I don't think we the people buy them anymore. I don't think we buy their crap, their political bias against President Trump. No way. And he said, President and I are cool. He calls me all the time. I call him. He likes the job that I'm doing. That's why they're coming at me so hard. Why is this such a big story? Why are the Democrats fighting so hard to get rid of Pete Hegseth? And why are they fighting so hard to bring back this illegal MS-13 gang member, Kilmar Abrego Garcia? It's ridiculous. And of course, the DOD rapid response. Here's the next slide. At Secretary of Defense, he says, we are welcoming back former service members who are wrongfully forced to leave the military due to COVID-19 vaccines. We send letters out. We're seeking them out. We want them back. They never should have been forced to come back quickly. That was a big promise that he said when he was under oath in his confirmation. He said, we're getting rid of the wokeness and we're bringing back people that were not illegally discharged. Well, yeah, you could say illegally discharged, unconstitutionally discharged from the military because they didn't take the vax. Now, I can tell you, I helped a lot of people at the Pentagon obtain religious and medical exemption. I wish that I would have met more people because I have a lot of friends that unfortunately, they decided to retire early. And of course, they don't get their pensions when they retire early. And they had to just try to go back to working in the private sector if they could, or they were laid off and they were on unemployment and they couldn't get a proper job. When they were cut from the military, they couldn't find a job in the private sector because they still wouldn't get the vax. And of course, you had the stupid no jab, no job concept, which was ridiculous. So Pete Hegseth promised when he said, when I become the Secretary of Defense, I'm going to bring these people back that were not allowed to continue on in the military because they decided not to take the vaccines. And he's 100% correct. He's 100% correct. This was unconstitutional. We're finding out this was a bioweapon. This was made in a lab. Dr. Fauci, as we know, killed a lot of people, including my World War II grandfather, who should be alive today. And Pete Hegseth promised that he would combat wokeness, get rid of the wokeness, get rid of making we, the taxpayers, pay for transgender surgeries in the military. It's crazy. The whole thing is crazy and asinine. And again, it's the minority trying to be the majority. It's crazy. So of course the Democrats want to get rid of Pete Hegseth. Of course they do. God forbid he brings back civilization to the military. God forbid he actually wants to take care of we the people and have people serve in the military that want to serve. Not people that want to have the taxpayers pay for their transgender surgeries and so forth. The military was so woke and weak under Joe Biden and the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mr. Milley. People calling for him to go to jail. Mark Milley. I mean, there was some serious craziness going on during the Biden administration, some serious craziness with the military. People were saying the military was weak, very weak. But as a result of Pete Hegseth being the Secretary of Defense, guess what? The recruitment has gone up 110%. President Trump going back to the White House, more people wanted to enter the military. People that left the military wanted to come back. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that tells me that Pete Hegseth is doing his job and that the left and the mainstream media hate him so much. They want to put out all this negative stuff against him. And it's not right. It's not right at all. Pete Hegseth is a military guy. He's all about military. He's doing a phenomenal job. And people need to back off and let him do his job and stop trying to hurt him. Now, as you know, we talked about in previous shows, there were some leakers that, guess what, have been fired. And people blame Pete Hegseth for those people that were leakers. It's not Pete Hegseth's job. Well, I should say I phrased it incorrectly. Pete Hegseth, now I have to totally rephrase my brain. My brain is doing this and my tongue can't do this. So it was not Pete Hegseth's fault that those people leaked. People are, again, they're blaming Pete Hegseth for those people that are leakers. You have to understand, there's still a lot of Biden and a lot of Obama holdovers in the government that Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard are in the process of trying to vet these people, re-vet these people, try to find out who's on the side of evil, who's not on the side of evil. As you know, there's some people out there that are calling themselves professional vetters that want to be a part of the vetting team, and they want President Trump to listen to them to say, hey, even though these people are in the heads of government and they are working under your appointees, your appointments, some of these people are not good people. And some of these people do not have America's best interest at heart. So the way to get a leaker and to exile him out is you got to catch him when he's leaking. So Pete Hegseth and his team and others and the President of the United States caught these leakers. They caught these people leaking. They caught them in the act. Therefore, they are fired. They weren't leakers before they were hired. They were leakers while they were in the system, while they were working under Pete Hegseth. And thank God. And actually Pete Hegseth's, his spokesperson, who's a very good spokesperson, he was the one that revealed a lot of these leakers and a lot of the leakage going on. And to be honest with you, it's good. It's a good thing that they fired these people right away before they've been in there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So chief of staff is gone. The deputy chief of staff is gone. The heads above, the heads of the Secretary of Defense below Pete Hegseth are gone because they leaked classified information. Again, wasn't Pete Hegseth who did it. It was the people that were working underneath him that did it. And again, I can tell you for a fact that sometimes Pete Hegseth or Pam Bondi or Lee Zeldin, they don't personally hire these people. They get hired from the State Department first. Then if Pete Hegseth and Pam Bondi and Mike Huckabee, if they want to hire their own people, they hire their own people. That's how it works. That's how this hiring process works. I know this for a fact. They hire through the State Department. You go on usajobs.gov. Sometimes you get the job, sometimes you don't. And I can tell you, usajobs.gov does not hire the right people for the job. They hire people that have had security clearances, that are G14s, G15s, G13s. God forbid they hire somebody that, isn't a G something. In my opinion, usajobs.gov needs to do a better job vetting their candidates. And you don't necessarily have to hire someone that has a G5, a G7, a G8, a G12, a G15. They may not be the best person for the job. Again, you hire based on merit, not because they have a little medal on their shoulder or on their clothing. It's ridiculous. So usajobs.gov needs to do a better job hiring. So again, it's not Pam Bondi, it's not Tulsi Gabbard, it's not Pete Hegseth hiring all these people. It is the State Department that hires within. But again, as you know, they're trying to weed out the weeds from the State Department. Kash Patel is doing it right now. Pam Bondi's doing it right now. Remember, guys, they just got in there. They haven't been there for years. So a lot of people, they're like pissed off at Pam Bondi. They're like, where's the Epstein files already? They need to just chill. We all need to chill. President Trump said they're coming. President Trump has talked to Pam Bondi about it. Kash Patel is working on it. Kash Patel is getting pushback from FBIs from different states. As you know, before Kash Patel became the FBI director, Pam Bondi actually wrote a note to Kash Patel warning him that this would happen, warning him that he would have pushback from certain state departments, meaning the department in New York, department in Illinois, or Chicago. The most liberal areas are going to put a kibosh, because a lot of people do not want the Epstein files revealed, because there's certain people's names there that we may all know, maybe big celebrities that don't want their names out there. So it's very, very, very important. It's very important that we just hold on, we chill a little bit, let Pam Bondi do her job. As I've told people, she was my former Florida Attorney General. I saw her at work. I saw her combat the human trafficking, sex trafficking, and child trafficking in the state of Florida. I saw her combat illegal immigration. She worked with some of the best sheriffs in Florida. And she's really tough on crime. The crime, it was very low and is still low in the state of Florida. So just let's pull the brakes on attacking her, okay? President Trump has said she's doing a great job. He has made no reference to getting rid of her. Some people said, oh, is she like a Jeff Sessions? She just got there. She just got there. She released the JFK files. She released the RFK files. She released the MLK Jr. files. They are going to release what happened to President Trump and Butler in July of last year. It's been almost a year. She's got a lot going on. She sued the state of Illinois. Let's remember that. She charged the mayor. She charged the governor. She charged the heads of the state. She sued the state of New York. She charged Kathy Hochul, the governor. She charged Letitia James. She charged Alvin Bragg. She charged a lot of people that went against President Trump. I have been pushing for her to charge Governor Wes Moore, charge Anthony Brown, charge the Baltimore City Mayor Brandon Scott, to sue the state of Maryland. I can tell you that that state is on her list, especially after the spectacle that Senator Chris Van Hollen did last week. So she has a lot on her plate, guys, a lot on her plate. So does Secretary of Defense. So does Tulsi Gabbard. So does everybody else that just got in there. And everybody that's in there so far is doing a great job. President Trump has praised them and said they're doing a great job. And you know President Trump, he will fire you if he feels you're not doing the job. He will fire you. And oh my God, look how great Stephen Miller is. I love Stephen Miller. I was so happy when Stephen Miller got back into the White House. Stephen Miller is an awesome human being. Smart, sharp as a whip. He knows how to handle that media. If you have not listened to how Stephen Miller educates the media on illegal immigration, I implore you to do that. Stephen Miller is a top attorney. He runs the America's First Policies law firm. He's a smart guy. I say hashtag that's my Jew, because he's a great Jewish man, great Jewish attorney. Former Congressman Lee Zeldin, who's our EPA director, hashtag that's my Jew too. So these are Jewish men that I stand by and support. And I hope that we all just really take in who President Trump is bringing in and really listen to these guys and to these gals that know how to answer the questions, know how to handle themselves in front of the media, and how they're always 20 steps ahead of the media. But again, you know, Secretary of Defense, they want to go after him. Again, DOD rapid response. We'll put up the last slide of the segment. There you go. This is the vice president saying, he reiterated that he and President Trump, they support at Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. He said, I quote, I have 100% confidence in the secretary. The best testament to his leadership of the military is for the first time in a very long time. We don't have terrible recruitment problems in the Army, Navy, and Air Force. I wish the press talked more about that and not anonymous sourcing from random staffers. Quote unquote. That's from your vice president. So the vice president got the same damn question from the media. Same damn question stating, are you going to get rid of Secretary of State Pete Hegseth, or excuse me, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth? What do you think about his behavior? He put classified information on a Signal chat. Vice President's like, he's great. Look at the recruitment that we have in the Army, the Navy, and so forth. It's right there for you guys in black and white. If JD Vance was unhappy, if President Trump was unhappy, he'd be gone. And remember, President Trump has the final say on who gets in and or who stays in, who gets in, and who gets out, and who is fired, who is hired, and so forth. And so does Susie Wiles. Susie Wiles is President Trump's chief of staff. Everyone's like, oh, Susie Wiles is silent. Stephen Miller should take her job. No, she's a behind-the-scenes girl. Her silence is what keeps her there. It's good that she's silent. She doesn't like to be in front of the camera. She's a behind-the-scenes girl, and she does her job very well. She's a hell of a fundraiser and a hell of a campaigner, and she has been loyal to President Trump from the beginning. I know Susie Summerall Wiles. She's a strong woman with a great background. Let Stephen Miller get in front of the camera. Let him be that person that goes on CNN and Newsmax and Fox News and whatever. That's not her. She doesn't want to do that. But she is very close to President Trump. And again, if she's not doing her job, he'll say something. Caroline Levitt, White House press secretary, is fabulous. She knows how to handle that media like no other. She is so smart and brilliant. And I'm so, so proud of her. I'm proud that she's in the position that she's in. Again, let me remind everybody, we are not the mainstream media. We are not fake news. We will never be called fake news. We are part of the new conservative media at the White House. The president and the White House press secretary, they love us. They love our network because we report fairly and honestly. And to be honest with you, I love all of Trump's policies. I love what he's doing. Me, as a hardcore Trump supporter, I love President Trump and what he does. And we will always report fairly what he puts into place and his policies. We'll always report his policies. We'll always report on things that the press secretary reports on, as well as President Trump. We'll be at that lawn as much as we can. We are constantly on the lawn. We are constantly at the White House briefing room with Caroline Levitt. And anytime that we are there, we give you updates. We'll give you clips, real clips, not fake news clips. We will do it just right so that you guys can hear in real time what Caroline Levitt is saying to we the people, what the president's saying to we the people, and so forth. But again, it's all about listening to the fake news or listening to the real news. But I'm so happy, again, they were bringing Judeo-Christian values back into the White House, Judeo-Christian values back to this country. It was so nice to see everybody celebrate Easter, so nice to see everybody celebrate Passover. I feel that this year, it was just such a festive year. And I know Christmas and Hanukkah is going to be even better next year. I can feel it. Or this year, I should say. I can feel it. Memorial Day is going to be amazing. President Trump is doing a huge shindig for his birthday. Flag Day. His birthday is Flag Day. He's going to have mass amounts of flags everywhere. And then he's going to have a big 4th of July celebration. And he wants to honor our nation. He wants to make America great again. He wants our enemies to know, our allies to know that we are stronger than ever before. And you have to admire that about him. You have to admire how much he loves this country. That's what everybody says. President Trump really loves this country. He's not just doing it to do it. This is not just a job for him. Again, he could be on his golf course right now living it up. Somebody said to me, wasn't President Trump like a billionaire? Why is he still working? Why isn't he retired? No, he didn't retire. He doesn't want to retire. When you are a person that helps people, that builds things, that makes people's dreams come true, you do not retire. My father's in the financial business. He'll never retire. He makes people's dreams come true. He invests their money so that it grows, so that they have something later on. Or if their spouse, God forbid, dies, their spouse has something. I specialize in health and life insurance. That's making people's dreams come true. That's making sure people are taken care of, making sure people are insured on their health, making sure people have life insurance. So if, God forbid, the spouse dies, their kids have something. You're leaving something behind. You're leaving your legacy with something. So they're not destitute. But it's all about helping people. Being the president of the United States, you're helping everyone of your nation. You represent everyone of your nation. Your job is to listen to your constituents, to cater to your constituents, to love your constituents, whether they voted for you or not. And when I say constituents, I mean legal citizens of this country. Legal citizens, people that can vote in our elections. Not illegals, legals. We have to understand that concept. These Democrats, they spin that all the time. All the time. But if you had a chance to look at the Easter roll or go to the Easter roll, I applaud everyone who did. You can catch it on whitehouse.gov. You can actually catch repeated clips on C-SPAN and YouTube and so forth if you didn't see it. It was really beautiful. It was really beautiful to see him coloring with children, and his grandchildren were there, and just to see a different side of him, you know, the non-politician side of him, so to speak. President Trump never considered himself a politician. I never considered him a politician. But just to see that is so beautiful and so wonderful. And people really love that. And to watch the FLOTUS read a book to the children. Such the motherly instinct that she has, but she's so smart and she's so wise. And remember, she speaks in 5 languages. It's so nice. It's so nice. And again, we're bringing beauty back to the White House again. It's so nice to have a beautiful first lady. I believe she's the most beautiful first lady we've ever had. And I admire the way she dresses. I admire the way she looks. It's nice to see beauty and decency and decorum and class back into the White House. Coming up after the break, we're focusing again on illegal immigration, focusing on what Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland did. This topic hasn't gone away anytime soon. We'll be focused on that after the break.
That you're no longer able to watch, need them transferred to DVD, Blu-ray, or your smart device. Baltimore Digital offers professional-grade VHS, mini DV, and high 8 digitizing services. We can also convert Super 8mm film too. Baltimore Digital also provides photo restoration services. Visit archive.baltimoredigital.net. Mention code Alexandra for a 10% introduction.
And hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network, segment 2, dealing again with combating illegal immigration. As you know, Senator Chris Van Hollen from the liberal state of Maryland, he decided to take a trip to El Salvador on your taxpayer dollars. And he even admitted that on Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream. As you know, he's been trying to bring back this illegal MS-13 immigrant, Mr. Kilmar Garcia, Kilmar Garcia. I tried to say his full name, but whatever. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Tried to bring him back. Craziness. And then after he comes back from his trip, 4 other liberal congressmen decide they want to go too on taxpayer dollars. But no, the head of the Finance Commission, Senator James Comer, he said no. He said, if you want to go to El Salvador, you go on your own dime. We are not appropriating funds from the House of Representatives, from us, the taxpayers, for you to go and get an illegal back. When the president of El Salvador said, we're not bringing him back to he's not coming back to the United States. He's staying in El Salvador in jail. So these 4 crazy Congress people, they went on their own dime. And I don't remember if they met Kilmar or not. They might have. I know they tried, of course, to get talks with the president of El Salvador. And of course, the president of El Salvador, who's a smart man, said no. He refused to speak to them and he refused to see them because, first of all, he's not going to go against President Trump. But second of all, the guy's an MS-13 criminal. Why would President Bukaic bring an illegal immigrant, smuggle an illegal immigrant back to the United States? He even said in the Oval Office to the CNN crazy Caitlin Collins. He said, that's not happening. I'm not smuggling an illegal back into your country. Like, that's just not happening. So these 4 crazy congressmen and women, they go over there to El Salvador. They should have stayed there, to be honest with you. But they are doing everything they can to say, Kilmar needs due process. He never got his due process. He's a Maryland man. No, he's not. No, he's not. And again, this is a waste of our time. This is a waste of our energy. The fact that Chris Van Hollen and this liberal from Oregon, this other liberal from California, they are just, oh my God, trying to win brownie points here by showing their illegal voters that they care about them is crazy. And again, a lot of these states that are supporting these illegal immigrants do not require photo ID. Maryland is one of them. Again, under federal law, President Trump, he's requiring that everybody have a photo ID, especially when they go to vote. They have something called the SAVE Act with DHS, which says that when you go to the airport, you have to have valid ID, valid identification. That's how it has to be, folks. That's how it has to be. You come into our country, you come in legally. I mean, these were laws that have been put into place forever. And then Joe Biden comes in. Actually, Obama came in first, broke the law. Joe Biden comes in later, breaks the law again with Kamala Harris. They are allowing people to break the law, guys. And governors and county executives and mayors broke the law with them. We had so many drug cartels under the Biden administration. Again, fentanyl, which is a deadly drug, was coming into our country, killing innocent people. Fentanyl is not your friend. Even medical fentanyl can kill people. Medical fentanyl killed my grandfather. The nurses even asked my mother if they could put fentanyl and other opioids in my grandfather's drip before they murdered him. They knew what they were doing. So, again, these crazy liberal congressmen and senators that want to continue to go to El Salvador and try to bring back this illegal MS-13 gang member, who his wife had to get a protective order in 2021 because he scratched her, he punched her, he did all these heinous things to her. In 2019, in 2020 it was documented. And then she goes on Good Morning America, and the anchor guy, I think his name is Mike Stratton, who's like a former NFL football player. He asked her, he's like, you know, you did put out this temporary peace order against your husband in 2021. Can you tell us about that? And she deflected and she said, I'm just happy that he's alive. And then Michael Stratton was like, well, I'm not going to touch on that. I'm not going to press on that. I would have pressed on it. What the hell? I would have pressed on it. I'd have been like, this is what she wrote in complete detail. It is written in black and white. In order to get a protective peace order against somebody, you have to write everything in complete detail for it to be enacted. And it was. He should have pressed on it. That's called a weak reporter, by the way. And he's not even a reporter. He was a former football player. He's not a journalist. You go to journalism school. He's not a real reporter. He's just there. He's a face. He was a former NFL player. But he looked weak in that moment. I would have said, Jessica Vasquez, you wrote this. You have a GoFundMe out trying to get money for your illegal gang member husband. Why do you want him back in your household? When you wrote in 2020 and 2021 that he punched you, he scratched you, he almost killed you. You said you were in fear of your life, and you have a son with this man. Is your son okay? We haven't even heard from the son. I mean, the son is young, but kids are innocent and they remember everything. If you don't think that that son witnessed his mother getting punched and scratched and practically raped by his father, you better believe he saw it all. You better believe it. They don't hide that. They don't tell the kids to go into another room. It's out in the open, and you can hear it too. Kids have great hearing. They can hear everything. I'm sure he heard his mother getting abused. But why is she asking for dollars from We the People to pay for her illegal MS-13 gang member husband? What's in it for her? Is she getting bond paid for by a gang member? Has a gang member told her, you say anything, you're finished? Is she on Medicaid? Does she have to say, I want my husband back in order to keep her benefits? Because she's got the government paying for everything for her? Somebody posed that question to me. Maybe she's on Medicaid. It's craziness. The whole thing is crazy and asinine. And I thank my good friend, Congressman Brandon Gill. We'll bring up the first slide. Congressman Brandon Gill wrote, and again, he tweeted, quote, if you're here illegally, the only process you're due is deportation. Do we have that slide, Damon? There we go. Congressman Brandon Gill, my friend. He said, if you're here illegally, the only process you're due is deportation. He's 100% correct. He's actually called for Congresswoman Ilhan Omar to go back to Somalia, because a lot of people are stating that she didn't come through the proper channels. She married her brother. Yep, that's the slide. If you're here illegally, the only process you're due is deportation. But yeah, I mean, Brandon Gill has called for Ilhan Omar to go back to Somalia. I mean, she said Somalia first. She loves that country. She loves Somalia. We should keep her there. We should totally keep her there. It's crazy that she's not there now. But he's 100% correct. He's 100% correct. And then we have a picture. We'll show that an image of Democrats flying. Here it is. Those are the Democrat congressmen I was talking about, and Congresswoman Terrible wrote, Democrats really flew 18 hours to visit an MS-13 wife beater. Now, they didn't do it on taxpayer dollars, but the fact that they wasted their energy on that is insane. Let me ask my viewers, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about your congressman or your senator going to El Salvador to try to get an illegal MS-13 gang member who beats his wife or who beat his wife? How do you feel about them trying to bring him back? Putting all this energy into bringing him back, putting all this energy into supporting illegals. Now, I can tell you these congressmen, these senators, they never called the women whose children, or I should say the mothers of whose children were brutally killed and raped by illegals. Rachel Morin, as I said before, beautiful 37-year-old woman with 5 children. She was murdered, raped, brutally abused by an illegal from El Salvador. Her mother came to the White House and told the story in detail of what her daughter looked like after this all happened and how Chris Van Hollen never gave her a phone call. We have another lady, Tammy Nobles. Her daughter was raped and murdered in her bedroom in July of 2022 by an illegal criminal from El Salvador. And she's told her story on Fox News. What about Lincoln Riley? What happened to her? Beautiful, innocent girl. Murdered, raped. The disgusting part is that after these illegal criminals, after they kill you, then they rape you. Because they don't want you to die virgins. They don't want you to, you know, they want the people to know that you were not a virgin when you died and that we've brutalized you. These are 12, 13, 14-year-old girls. It's disgusting. That's necrophilia. That's what freaking Hamas does. Hamas, they rape you when they're killing you, and then they rape you after they've killed you. It's disgusting. These are not human beings. These are monsters. And this is who Chris Van Hollen and these Democrat Senate or Democrat congressmen, congresspeople support. It's disgusting. Vote them out. Remove them from office. Primary them out. I've asked AIPAC to look into getting rid of Chris Van Hollen and so forth. AIPAC has the money and the resources to do it. How could any voter support this? And look what happened in Maryland today. There was a guy that was in a girl's bathroom doing some explicit things in front of the girls in the bathroom. That's what's happening in Maryland today, in Chris Van Hollen's state. They have woke agenda, CRT, gender identity curriculum in the state of Maryland. What is Chris Van Hollen doing on the federal level? He combats everything that President Trump puts into place. He combats DOJ. He combats DEI. I mean, not combats DEI. He supports the DEI hires. He supports illegal immigrants, illegal criminals. He should be charged and he should be in jail. All these senators, all these people in Congress that keep combating President Trump. like AOC and Bernie Sanders with their stupid fighting out oligarchy rallies all over the country that's combating President Trump and his agenda. I understand you can agree to disagree, but this is taking it way too far. This is crossing the line. To support an illegal MS-13 gang member, which is the lowest of the low type of people, where they rape innocent children, innocent young women, mothers, grandmothers. They cut their fingers off. They cut body parts off. They rape them after they kill them. They rape them while they're killing them. Again, it reminds me of Hamas. It reminds me of a terrorist organization. And they've been deemed a domestic terrorist organization in March of 2025. MS-13 gang members do not have our best interests at heart. And this is all Obama and Biden's doing, because the rise of them was under their administrations. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable that we're still talking about this moron. Unbelievable that we have to worry walking down the street. I told you I have a residency in Montgomery County, Maryland. There's a lot of illegals that live in Montgomery County. Illegal terrorists from Syria, from Lebanon, from Afghanistan, that former governors and current governors allowed in the county and in the state. I'm so disgusted of what these governors allowed to happen to their states. Governor Westmore allowed Rachel Morin to get murdered and raped. This happened under his watch. Did he ever call the Morin family? He's been MIA. He's been in Japan. He's been in South Korea. He's campaigning like he's running for president. George Clooney already pretty much endorsed him. Not cool. Not cool at all. But again, 87% of people support President Trump when it comes to his illegal immigration plans and when it comes to combating all these illegal criminals that are in our country. And we actually have a poll. We'll put it up. It says Americans overwhelmingly, we'll put that slide up right now. The poll shows that Americans overwhelmingly side with Trump on deportations. So again, Americans side with President Trump on the deportations. Why doesn't the senators and the congressmen? I know they're Democrats and they're told to hate Donald Trump and they're told to combat him on every turn. But listen to your constituents. Listen to the majority of Americans. They support President Trump on deportations. The massive amounts of these illegals coming to our country has significantly reduced. My friend Thomas Homan talks about it all the time. He loves his job. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. She talks about how the pouring of fentanyl has lowered. How they're going in and finding the drug cartels. How they're trying to lower the sex trafficking, the human trafficking, the child trafficking in all 50 states. That's their job and that's what they're going to do. We need to understand this. We need to understand that you cannot continue breaking the law for the rest of your life. And President Trump is all about law and order and bringing back the rule of law. You don't follow the law, you go to jail. You're an illegal in this country, you go to the country that you came from. You go back to El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, wherever the hell you came from. You're an MS-13 gang member, you're a terrorist. You go to prison in your respected country. You're an illegal coming into this country, supporting pro-Hamas crap and starting pro-Hamas rallies at Columbia University and NYU and other universities, your visa gets revoked. You get the hell out of our country. The Trump administration was not kidding when they said they were doing this. So to continue combating it and doing rallies, supporting these pro-Hamas people and these illegal criminals, it looks bad for you. Because when you stand with these people, you are standing on the side of evil. You're standing with people that break the law. You're standing with criminals. How is that cool? And if you love these people so much, if you support Hamas so much, go hang out with them. Go hang out with ISIS and Islamic Jihad. Go hang out with Hezbollah if you love them so much. Jewish Voices for Peace, go over there. Queers for Palestine, go to Gaza, hang out with them. See if they'll welcome you with open arms. I've said this repeatedly, but I know why you do it here in America, because you feel it's my freedom of speech. Nothing should happen to me, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you do have freedom of speech. That is correct. But when you insinuate violence, when your rhetoric insinuates violence, when you call for the genocide of Jews, it is no longer freedom of speech. It turns into something called hate speech. When you force boycott, divest, and sanction at your schools, when you say that America should not do business with Israel anymore, you're going against your biggest ally, Israel, but you also don't understand that the United States has treaties. And they have trade agreements. Each state has a trade agreement with Israel. That's crazy that you would combat your biggest ally, Israel. That's crazy that you would say that you would boycott the agriculture, the Central Intelligence, the environment that American Israel has exchanged for years. And as you heard Netanyahu say, he's eliminating all the tariffs. No more tariffs. He's going to sign the treaty with his cabinet, with the government. It'll be a done deal. He might have already signed it. But when you are on the side of evil and you don't even know what you're combating, you're just doing it for a paycheck. You're just doing it for money. That's even crazier. You have to vet the group that you are working with. Jewish Voices for Peace, CARE, all these different organizations that support Hamas. Their time is coming. Their time is coming where it's not going to be allowed anymore. Again, we need to adhere to the rule of law. We can't have total chaos. We have to have law and order, or you have total chaos in a country. And that's what President Trump and his team are doing every single day. Coming up after the break, we have a special segment that I'll tell you right when we come back.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
And hello, everyone. We are back with a very special segment. This is Faze time with our very good friend, Tim Fazenbaker, and he has an exclusive interview with Parker Jensen. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome, everybody. It's FaceTime. Tim Fazenbaker here. I got the pleasure to speak with a young man today that has inspired the nation and made people like myself and many others wake up to something we haven't thought about since we've been in school. And that is the fact that the public schools are required to have an American flag in each classroom. And when I saw this story first break, and I saw that this young man who actually stood up and asked that question ended up getting suspended because of this, when he said, why aren't flags in certain classrooms? I said, this is the guy I got to talk to. This is what our future, what this next generation, Generation Z or Generation A, whatever it's going to be in that time frame, this is what is coming, which is great. We've turned the corner in society, I believe, and now we're moving towards a pro-America, America First type agenda where we stand up for the people that stand up for us, where we honor our traditions of a nation, and we hold people accountable to their own rules. Because as you'll see, this issue isn't just an issue that one young man brought up and said, hey, why aren't there flags in here? Hey, he said, hey, there's supposed to be flags in here according to your own laws and legislations. And we'll get into that in just a second. But without further ado, I'd like to bring in the young man that many people have come to know now. His name is Parker Jensen. Parker, welcome. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, thank you for standing up and doing what you did. When I was 17 or 18, I'm not sure exactly your age, but I couldn't have imagined, standing up. I did some stuff, but what you did was very brave and cutting edge. And what I mean by that is many people would notice it. If they do notice it, they probably still wouldn't say anything. So what happened to make you step up and even ask that question about why flags weren't in those classrooms?
I mean, I always came from a patriotic family. My grandfather served, and a lot of my other family members have been in the military. And I mean, just in general, I was raised in a very patriotic household, true to traditions and all that stuff. So, I mean, when I noticed it, I looked it up and I noticed that it was a law. So I just I brought it to my administration and, because I mean, the whole thing comes down to the reason that we have American flags is because people fight for those American flags. They fight for our traditions. They fight for our freedoms. And it's not right for a public institution, like a government institution funded by the public, to not follow their own laws set by Maryland legislators, but also it's just disrespectful to those who fought for us. So
right, and you come from a military family. I know you have ambitions of possibly being in the military as well, and I thank you for that effort to want to serve. And from I remember right, it was a vice principal named Mr. Stevens that you first went to and addressed that and asked that question. What was the response when you went to him?
So when I originally went to him in February, he said that he'd look into the issue, and then 2 weeks later, around March 14th, I went back to him and brought it up again. And he said that they were still looking into it. And then on March 28th, which was when I went to the Board of Education, there still weren't flags. So that's why I went to the Board of Education. And, the rest is on YouTube, I guess. So.
Yeah. So I'm going to show the quick video of local Fox, actually, that you went to and basically pushed your story. And this is how it kind of got rolling. So let's
Parker
take a look.
Jensen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A senior and prospective U.S. Marine.
Yes, sir.
Noticed something that concerned him at his high school that violates state law.
So I'm only in 2 classes, but both of my classes do not have American flags.
Jensen took his concerns to the Baltimore County Board of Education.
I was looking to speak to a supervisor of some sort that regulates Baltimore County public schools.
Instead of speaking with someone,
3 cop cars for a kid.
the school system called the police and suspended him for 7 days.
You're actually suspended from the school. He used to be with this in the club.
Now,
do you believe Jensen's constitutional rights were violated?
Absolutely.
He has hired an attorney to fight back.
He did nothing wrong besides try to bring forth his First Amendment right and really enforce a Maryland law, which is to have American flags in every single classroom.
So when you did that, did you think that it would take off and actually become a national story?
No, not at all. Quite frankly, I just thought it would be a pretty local thing. Well, it's pretty cool. I got noticed in front of the Wawa, in front of my recruiting station, which was pretty cool. Nice lady came up to me and
No,
she,
I will. I'm sorry. Yeah, I will say Wawa. I'll give you a free shout out for Wawa because Wawa has actually been very patriotic for a lot of things that I have done with backing the police and law enforcement families. So local Wawa has been great. I'm glad to hear you say that. So when you did that story though, for I think it's Chris Papps at Fox 45. Did he mention that he thought the story might take off, go national or anything?
He didn't really mention it, but I mean, he did mention if that there would be some other news outlets reaching out to me.
Right.
He did mention that. So I mean, it was definitely, it's a possibility because it's an American flag. So, and we're all under the same. Yeah, if it was Maryland, I'd say maybe, but if it's an American flag, definitely.
Of course. Now, when I saw the story and I said this is something that was very exciting to me and something that needed to be addressed, my first thought was, where is the legislation or where's the code that this actually happens? And you provided it to me actually, and it says here, according to Baltimore County School Board Policy 6307 and the Maryland Education Code 7-105, an American flag must be displayed in each classroom. Now, when I saw that, I went to some of the people, obviously, right away in my circle that actually work for the school board, and they did agree, yes, that should be happening. Can you speculate on why in these certain classrooms they were given flags prior to every school year, yet they didn't put them up in these classrooms? Any idea why?
So I mean, yeah. So every classroom is up to code at the beginning of the school year with all the necessary requirements. And I believe that I don't want to speculate or anything, it's assumed, but I believe that it's because of the election that some teachers felt that maybe their idea of what America is now, or quote unquote is now, isn't stand for, even though their classroom, well, yes, it's theirs, it's our classroom as well. It's the student's classroom. Right. So, I think maybe, I don't know, man. Some people just hate America, I guess. And it's not right, especially because they're funded by the taxpayers. We pay their paychecks. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I'll do the speculation for you because many see it and we think it's disrespectful. And it's a way to say the America that is traditional and the America that made this world a much better place is antithetical to what they want it to be. And they don't show it. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but it's their responsibility to do that. So, in your generation, do you feel like there is a more pro-America value than what you might say in the millennial generation?
I would say that it's kind of a mix, like a 50-50. I think some people are rooted in the grounds of American and patriotism and, liberty. And then I'd say the other 50% are the people who want to fund foreign wars and not put Americans first. They're not, too keen on government efficiency when it's our taxpayers' money. But that's a whole nother thing I could get into for a long time. So.
Well, you were quarterback and a kicker at Towson High. Towson is in Baltimore County. It's the capital of the county in a sense, the county seat, just north of Baltimore City. And Towson is my alma mater for the university. And it's been changing. And I'm glad that there's still people like you that are going up through the ranks and actually standing up for what is right. And again, your story, it got so big that it got onto National Fox. And I saw last week, Trace Gallagher happened to be watching. I was like, oh, there's Parker. And I took a couple pictures here and I saw you clean up pretty well. So looking good there. And then, of course, another picture with the Fox team right there. Kevin Cork is a good friend of mine, by the way. So he happened to be on there. You'll have a friend for life, and you'll have an outlet to get your story across if, God forbid, anything like this happens again. Right. But I want to tell you that you got a good family. You got a good head on your shoulders. I think you're going to go places. And people like myself, old enough to be your father, but we are proud to have someone like you out there. What would you like to say, lastly, about the situation where you did get suspended? And I know that there's an issue with prom because of this. You might not be able to go to prom. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, sure. So the suspension that they got me with is a Category 2 and a Category 1 offense. And with their contract, or like the rules for attending dances and like extracurricular activities, if you have a Category 2 or Category 3 offense throughout the school year, you cannot attend any. So with that suspension, it kind of just kicked me off the list for prom. That's kind of why I'm suing. So to get that expunged from my record. And then also just like a final thought for other people, it's like, don't be afraid to speak up and like hold the government accountable. Because at the end of the day, we the people, and you shouldn't feel like your voice has to get suppressed just because they're in a position of power when we're the ones who put them in that position of power. So just have
yeah, go ahead.
So just don't be afraid,
I have children roughly your age and a little younger, and I'm sure your parents probably might have said the same thing. It's those teachers work for you.
Exactly.
So we don't go to that school because we are the subordinates. We do follow the order, but those teachers work for you, and it's their job to educate you and rear you in the proper way. So I'm calling on the Board of Education of Baltimore County to do the right thing. Let this young man go to prom, clean his record. He did your job for you and bringing this to national attention. You know what? I mean, any parent out there would rather have a Parker Jensen as their son or their daughter's boyfriend than someone like Carmelo Anthony. And we saw that issue going on in Texas. This is what we're looking for in the next generation. And I thank you for that. Any final thoughts on this whole subject?
Just keep being patriotic. I mean, the flag means something, and it represents all the people who fought and served for it.
That's right. That's all right. Well, Parker, thank you for your time, and best of luck in the future. And I'm sure you'll be going places. Take care.
Appreciate you.
Ah, crap. I don't know what I did now. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right. We can edit this part. It's still recording, but I don't know how to get out of that. So, oh well.
This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with Alexandra Levine Live on the America's Pulse Network. You are all in with Alexandra Levine. We are still waiting for someone from the White House to come out and tell us what transpired between President Trump and Vladimir Putin on that call today. We are here live at the White House. We're waiting for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to come out and tell us about the updates of today, the call between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, what transpired in that call.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
And hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Alexandra Levine Live with the America's Pulse Network. Our final segment, Making America Healthy Again. Our first slide comes from @DiedSuddenly. I suggest that you all go on their Twitter account. It does talk about everyone that has either died suddenly from the vaccines or they've had complications from the vaccines. And the tweet goes, Trump administration considers pulling COVID vaccine recommendation for children. Please do it at Robert Kennedy Jr. Trump administration may pull COVID-19 vaccine recommendation for children. And I can say that as someone who has 2 nieces and a nephew, all 3 of them did not get the vaccines. My sister would not allow her children to get the COVID-19 vaccines. My sister is also very critical of her children getting certain vaccines because she has seen when one child gets more vaccines than the other, the function of one child over the other. And there is a controversial thing right now where RFK Jr., he came out with saying that a lot of these vaccines cause autism in children. And some people are offended by it. Some people agree with it. And some people that are autistic themselves have agreed that a lot of the vaccines that they got, they feel has hurt their speech, has made them slow in school and so forth. that doesn't mean that you can't be successful if you are autistic and so forth. That's not what RFK Jr. was saying. But what he's trying to say is that we need to remove a lot of these things that are going into children's bodies at such a young age. He talked about how his children have peanut allergies. All of a sudden, they're having peanut allergies at 12 years old, 11 years old. His children did, and his grandchildren did. He said, when I was 11, 10, 9 years old, I wasn't allergic to anything. Now everybody's on allergy medication like Allegra or Zyrtec or Claritin. Now a lot of people are on Benadryl. Now a lot of people are on certain medications that he didn't have when he was young. A lot of people his age and younger didn't have. A lot of people that are 6 years old didn't have. But all of a sudden, the younger generations, they're attaining allergies. They're all of a sudden have ADHD. We're seeing a lot of young kids getting diagnosed with ADHD and a lot of other disorders that a lot of people didn't have, back in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, and so forth. So, as the head of HHS, he's trying to, again, make America healthy again. And he's trying to figure out why all of a sudden do people have allergies? Why all of a sudden is there a rise in autism? Why all of a sudden is there a rise in ADHD? What is going on here? So he actually recently came out with stating that he's going to eliminate a lot of the dyes and the chemicals from our food. And Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, we have the screenshot, the slide on that. She says, great day for MAHA moms everywhere. Make America healthy again, moms. Thank you, Ed Secretary Kennedy, for taking monumental steps to create a healthier country for our children. It says the die is cast. Synthetic food colorings banned from popular candies, drinks such as M&M's, Skittles, Reese's Pieces, and so forth. And I agree with RFK Jr. on this. Myself, over the years, I've obtained digestive issues. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I obtained heartburn and acid reflux at a very young age. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm figuring it out myself. I'm researching it myself. And I realized that it's a lot of these dyes and these chemicals that are in the food. And you can see that in your digestive tract too. When I was in Europe, the food there is very clean and you go regularly there. And my heartburn was cut down there. My acid reflux was reduced. And it's because here in America, we have a lot of synthetic dyes, colorings, and the food is heavily processed, heavily deep fried. So what I did is I changed my entire diet. I don't eat processed food anymore. I don't eat things with synthetic dyes and coloring. I don't even drink tap water anymore because we're finding there's a lot of chemicals in tap water. I actually drink water with alkaline and electrolyte in it. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I eat a lot of meat. There's a lot of good stuff eating chicken, eating steak. I eat a lot of fish, but I eat fish with very low mercury count, because they are finding that fish that have a lot of mercury can actually cause mental disorders. RFK Jr. came up with that, as well as renowned doctors as well. But when you're constantly putting like all of these vaccines into your body and all of these shots into your body, it does affect your body over time. And I remember the shots of Gardasil. They made you do 3 Gardasil shots, 3 shots of the Gardasil. It was supposed to prevent against HPV, against certain types of STDs. It didn't prevent against all HPVs, but they said, young people, sometimes they use protection, sometimes they don't. You should, you can get HPV from skin on skin contact. You should really consider getting these shots. And I'm like, well, why do I need 3 shots for an STD? Like, I found that kind of ridiculous. I'm like, can't you have 1 shot that does it all? They're like, no, that's not how it works. Well, RFK Jr. just recently discovered that the Gardasil shots are actually not healthy for you. They're not healthy for young women. This was specifically for women. They pushed it on women. I know my gynecologist was pushing it on me. I refused to take it. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And they wanted everybody, of course, to be the guinea pig when it first came out. And they push it on men too, but they really push it on women more. And we're finding out that women that have taken Gardasil, it's been very hard for them to conceive. It has actually lowered their ability to have children. And we're actually finding out in the vaccines, and we'll put that slide up because this one's very interesting. So Mario Nafal, who's a friend of mine on Twitter, he said, fertility decline hits all 50 states, new lows nationwide. The U.S. fertility rate dropped to an all-time low of 54.5 births per 1,000 women in 2023, less than half its 1957 peak of 122.9. All 50 states saw declines between 2005 in 2022. Utah had the sharpest drops at minus 33.9%, while Louisiana saw the smallest change at just negative 0.3%. Fertility rates fell for women under 35 and rose for women over 35. Women aged 30 to 34 now have the highest birth rate at 95.1 per thousand, replacing the 25 to 29 group. Top 2022 fertility states: South Dakota, Alaska, and Nebraska. Now, I can tell you this, that a lot of younger women are deciding not to have children. They either want to focus on their careers, or they don't want to be single women. And a lot of the dating pool, and I see this between ages of 25 to 45, a lot of people aren't getting married at that age, or a lot of people are divorced at that age, or a lot of people will date their girlfriends for 7, 8 to 10 years. And you know, I meet people that get married at 21, 22, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'll wait till I'm 30 or 35 to have children. And I've spoken to nurses that have told me that the majority of the women that are coming into their hospitals, they're having babies at 35, 36, 37, 38, even 40 years old. There's women having babies for the first time at 42 years old, at 45 years old, and they're having healthy babies. A lot of that has to do with maturity of the woman. A lot of that has to do with her finding a man later in life. A lot of it has to do with she feels more secure in her career, so she feels she can afford a child, and so forth. I know a lot of young girls at the age of 35 and 38 that freeze their eggs. I know a lot of men that freeze their sperm. But a lot of the low fertility has to do, or the decline, the fertility decline, a lot of it has to do with the COVID-19 vaccines. And the COVID-19 vaccines were administered a lot with men between the ages of 18 to 39. If you got 2 shots of the mRNA vaccine or more, you are least likely to have children. It does lower your sperm count. That was verified by renowned doctors. That was verified by my Surgeon General in Florida, who went in front of the halls of Congress. He did not lie under oath. I know him personally. And I know the head of the Department of Health, Dr. Kenneth Shepke, who saved my grandfather from COVID. He worked with me to save my grandfather from COVID. And he also put these stats together. And also we're seeing women that have obtained 2 or 3 or 4 or 7 shots of the mRNA vaccines. It's been very hard for them to conceive as well. A lot of these women, they're getting, their periods are coming ridiculously. They're either bleeding a lot or not bleeding at all. They're having issues. A lot of that has to do with the COVID-19 vaccine. Remember what AOC said: we're all going to die in 12 years. Don't get married. Don't have children. And people believed her. People believed her. But I feel bad for a lot of young people that got the vaccines that are having problems conceiving. And again, this happened between the ages of 18 to 39, and between, especially for men, and for men ages 18 to 39 that took 2 to 5 to 7 to 8, 9 shots of this mRNA vaccine, they are more prone to having myocarditis, to having brain aneurysms, strokes, to having things that they should be having at this age. It's insane what Dr. Fauci did to the young people. The vaccine was not supposed to be mandated for young people. It wasn't even really supposed to be administered to young people. If you were a young, healthy person, an athlete, you should not have taken the vaccine. I'm a young, healthy person, professional opera singer, actress. There was no way in hell I was going to put what I call the jabs of death in my body. I just wasn't doing it. I wanted to breathe. As a singer, you have to breathe. As a diver, you have to breathe. As a tennis player, as a baseball player, you have to breathe. But they pushed it on professional baseball players, on professional football players. They pushed it on people in the military. In the military, you have to have strength. You have to breathe. In the Navy, you have to breathe. But the unvaccinated people were called the anti-vaxxers. We were considered the devil. What do you guys think of us now? What do you guys think of what's going on? I have a lot of people that have gotten the COVID-19 vaccine that deeply regret it, that have had problems. And I see more vaccinated people. They're not fighting with unvaccinated. They're not punching them. There's no fist fights. They don't kill them. But what I am seeing in the dating pool, again, between the ages of 25 to 45, it's 20 years of age there. But a lot of these liberal women and liberal men that are vaccinated, they will not marry an unvaccinated person. Unbelievable. Just because somebody didn't want to take a vaccine, just because someone executed their constitutional right not to take a vaccine, you don't want to marry them, you don't want to date them, you don't want to kiss them. A lot of statistics are saying that people that were unvaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine are going to outlive the vaccinated. That's what a lot of doctors have said. That's what a lot of surgeon generals have said. We'll see. I know if you did obtain the COVID-19 vaccine and you've gotten COVID a few times afterwards, it has reduced the spike proteins and also has boosted up your immune system. But there's also scientists that are looking at people that have been vaccinated 5 years after the COVID-19 vaccines hit, and they're monitoring them to see how long do they live after they get the COVID-19 vaccine. And also, if you did get the COVID-19 vaccine, certain states, liberal states, when they ask you, they actually document it. And you're put in a database. So they know that you've been vaccinated. And if you say, I'm unvaccinated, that's documented too. When I would go to doctor's offices, I don't tell them I'm unvaxxed. I tell them, you go through the Department of Health in Florida. Because I know they're going to put me in some weird database. And also, under HIPAA, they can't even call the state of Florida to see what my medical records are, unless I write the release and tell them they can do that. But the reason that more women are having babies at 35, 40, 45 is a lot of those women did not get the vaccine. More women got the vaccine between ages 18 to 22 and 25 to 34. The reason that the guys are infertile is because the majority of them took the vaccine between the ages of 18 to 39. And these are the years where you want to have a baby. It's better to have a baby when you're young, because when you're older, it does get tougher on the body. More complications can happen. I know women that have had babies at 43 and then they have to have emergency hysterectomies. It's too much. And also, if you're a girl who's 21, 22, and you want to have a big family, it's better to start when you're young. Also, if you're someone like me who's like a health nut, who's always on a diet, who's always working out, you want to be as trim you can be. And it's harder to lose the weight when you're in your 40s and 50s after you have a baby. So the younger you are to have a baby, the quicker it is for you to take the baby weight off. My sister, I think, had her first child like in her early 30s. She took the weight off right away. Then she had another baby immediately afterwards. Like her oldest daughter and her son are like 14 months apart, very close. And then she waited 4 years later to have her youngest. And guess what? Waiting those 4 years, it took her longer to lose the baby weight. Now my sister looks amazing. She doesn't even look like she had 3 children, but she's a workout fanatic. She watches her diet, but she's constantly moving. She's constantly on a treadmill. She's on a bike machine. She's walking. She's always moving. She's on one of the machines that was at CPAC where you stand on it and your whole body vibrates. Our producer, Damon, actually bought that machine. And it works. I mean, I use it. It firms up your body. It firms up everything. It makes your adrenaline rush. It's amazing. It's an amazing machine. But this are the things that you need to do in order to stay fit. Great diet and proper exercise. I know when I changed my entire diet, when I went on the RFK Jr. diet, I lost 20 pounds, just like that. I got 10 more to go. But when you have exercise in your diet, it helps the weight you lose the weight even faster. But again, as young women, you may be gaining 20 or 30 pounds being pregnant. So you don't want to start out heavy before you get pregnant. Sometimes the doctors suggest that you lose the weight before you get pregnant. Sometimes it's harder to conceive when you're a little bit on the heavier side. Doctors have told me this. So they said, try to be like at your skinniest, like try to get to like your wedding weight, try to be in bridal mode, pretend like you're in bridal mode, be like the skinniest you can be before you conceive, and then try not to gain so much weight. You don't have to gain 30 or 40 pounds when you only have one child. My mother gained 20 pounds with my sister and I was a bigger baby than my sister. My sister was 6 pounds, I think maybe 10 ounces, and I was 8 pounds on the dot. But she gained 20 pounds with both of us. My aunt, she had one child. She gained 40 pounds with one child, and her child was like only 6.5 pounds. And it took her a long time to take off the weight, a long time. You don't have to gain 40 pounds with one child. You can gain 20 to 25 pounds and you're fine. That faux pas, the doctors say you need to gain all this weight, they're not the ones that's not their body. It's your body. You know, if you have that high metabolism to get your body back in shape. And again, if you're an older mother, like my aunt was an older mother, it was harder for her to lose the weight. Again, when you get to your late 30s, your 40s, your mid 40s, some women are even having babies at 50, I heard. It's harder for you to take the weight off. It takes longer for you to take the weight off. And you don't want to go on Ozempic or tirzepatide or any of these semaglutides that are out there if you don't have to, if you're not diabetic or pre-diabetic. A lot of those things have a lot of bad side effects too. And RFK Jr.'s talked about that too. I know a lot of people are on the Ozempic craze. But again, it was really meant for people, or it's really meant for people that are diabetic. And what's happening is that the people that actually need it, the people that have diabetes that really need it, they can't get it because the doctors are prescribing it to people that only want to lose like 10 pounds. You do not go on Ozempic if you want to lose 10 pounds. That's called, you get on a treadmill, you go swim in a pool, you go take a walk or a run with your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend, or just, take a walk. I wouldn't do a run by yourself if you're a single woman, but do an exercise class. I do Zumba. I do Pilates. I do a yoga class. Sometimes I do yoga in my house or in my condo. You put on a yoga video, put it on YouTube, do the yoga. You can do yoga for 30 minutes and man, I get abs of steel. There are so many ways to lose weight without doing stimulants and Ozempic and tirzepatide and all that stuff. And also the trick is not to have the synthetic dyes or the colorings in your household. I don't have cookies and cakes and Cheez-Its in my household and donuts. I have healthy stuff in my house because if you have that stuff in your house, you're going to eat it. Now, if you have children, I understand because children, they love the Chips Ahoy. They like a lot of the, the stuff that RFK Jr. says is bad. So what I see with a lot of families is they'll have like just a cabinet for that stuff. Like they'll have a cabinet for Cheetos. They'll have a cabinet for Oreos. And that's separate from what the parents eat. And that cabinet is specifically for their children. But I know people that their children, they just eat clean all the time. They're eating fruits, they're eating vegetables, they're eating non-processed stuff. It's actually good to start your children out when they're young. Try not to take them to places where it's fast food, where it's heavy processed foods, because that's going to cause a weight problem for your children, especially if they're not active. If your children are active, it's a little bit different. But you want to start them out young. Like I ate McDonald's when I was 6 years old. My parents didn't know any better. They were young parents. But looking back on it now, they're like, oh my God, we can't believe that like our Tuesday night dinners was McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's. And every winter break, my mom would take my sister and I to Checkers, and we loved the Checkers fries. And we couldn't understand why we were gaining weight from it. We're like, it's just fries. But then we started to read the ingredients and read what was in them. My mom was like, oh my God, it's like the worst fast food place ever. I think we went to Arby's once and it was really bad. We went to, I think, Hardee's once, and that has a lot of stuff in it. Boston Market, it's all processed chicken. So if you can, try to cook at home. And if you can, try to eat clean. If you can, really follow the RFK Jr. diet. People have asked me about this diet. It is a diet that works. Again, it's just clean eating and it's clean living. And honestly, when you're eating clean, it makes your skin feel nice. Like everyone's like, oh my God, Alexandra, your skin is so clear. And I've had breakouts in my life. I've had hyperpigmentation, rosacea. My rosacea is gone from a lot of the stuff I put in my body. I had very little acne now. I don't really have a lot of hyperpigmentation. I stay out of the sun. That's kind of like my go-to. Or if I do go out in the sun, I put an SPF 30. And the trick is you have to have the SPF 30 just with titanium and zinc oxide. That's it. Titanium oxide and zinc oxide, nothing else. You're going to see a sunscreen with a bunch of chemicals. It says avobenzonone, oxasolate, octinoxate. It's all chemical sunscreens, and you have to put it on your face every 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if you just get SPF 30 with zinc oxide and titanium oxide, it's perfect for your skin. SPF 30, SPF 50, that's all you need throughout the day. And they have tinted moisturizers that have that in there too. So if you like me and you like a little bit of coverage on your face or a little bit of color, you get a tinted moisturizer with zinc oxide, titanium oxide, SPF 30, SPF 50, and that's it. Those are called non-chemical sunscreens. And that's it. And you can find them that are non-GMO, non-comedogenic, animal cruelty-free, vegan-friendly, and gluten-free. Same thing with your hair. Make sure that you have hair care that doesn't have synthetic dyes and synthetic colorings. I use a hair care line called Virtue. It is 100% natural, no synthetic dyes, no synthetic colorings. It's sulfate-free, paraben-free, phthalate-free, vegan-friendly, and gluten-free, and animal cruelty-free. And all of their products actually help the hair. It helps the hair against split ends. It helps the hair with damage. It helps if you've had thinning hair, if you have frizzy hair, if you have flat hair and you want some volumizing in it. But all of their stuff is synthetic free, no dyes, no synthetic coloring. That's what you have to look for, because if you're like myself and you wear your hair down at night when you sleep, guess what? Your hair gets in your face and you break out. So if you have natural hair care in your line, your skin will be fresh. Your skin will be very fresh. And also, to prevent lines and wrinkles, this is a trick, ladies, is if you can, try not to sleep on your side. Try to sleep upright, sleep on your back if you can. Because if you're sleeping on your side, it's going to push your skin and cause gravity and cause it to pull down. So if you want to make sure that your skin is lifted and fresh, try to sit on your back if you can, and try to sit in an upright position. I've been doing that for years. And it does make a difference. It really does make a difference. It also helps with digestion as well. After you eat, you shouldn't lie back. You should try to sit upright on a 45-degree angle to help the food digest before you go to bed. But I mean, these are things that some doctors won't tell you, but real nutritionists will tell you this. I trust RFK Jr. when it comes to our food, when it comes to what goes into our bodies, because again, if you look at him, he's 70-something years old, his body's banging. I mean, he looks great. And we can all be an RFK Jr. We can all follow his diet. We can all follow his regimen. If you have a lot of health problems, if you have a lot of pain, if you have heartburn, if you have acid reflux, if you have digestive issues, maybe think about changing up your diet. Maybe change your exercise routine. It does help. It does make a difference. I can tell you, Baruch Hashem, my heartburn has reduced. My acid reflux has reduced. My digestive problems have reduced since I went on the RFK Jr. diet, since I started drinking alkaline and electrolyte water, since I started eating mostly fruits and vegetables. If you can, try to grow your own fruits and vegetables. That's why it's really good if you have a friend who's a farmer, if you're married to a farmer, if you're dating a farmer, grow some food with them. Grow some apples, grow some radishes, grow some corn, grow some peanuts with them. I mean, that's the healthiest of all, is growing the stuff if you can. Like when I lived in Israel, we grew fresh rosemary and fresh basil. It was nice just to pluck the rosemary and to pluck the basil from the stems. It was beautiful. If you can grow fresh mushrooms, that's perfect. But these are things that will really help people in life. This will also help with stamina. This will also help with strength. And also it will make America healthy again. It will push that agenda of making America healthy again. And you, as a human being, you will love yourself better if you try to cut out these synthetic dyes and these synthetic colorings from your diet. And what did the Democrats do is to revolt? There's a picture of Elizabeth Warren and AOC drinking synthetic colorings and synthetic dyes. It's disgusting. They drink, like, I think AOC drinking like a green dye and Elizabeth Warren's drinking like a brown dye. It is so nasty and so disgusting. Like, I want to just like throw up. And they did that on purpose, just to kind of revolt against RFK Jr. After watching that, it makes me want to eat healthier. It makes me want to eat better. And people have even said that AOC is looking a little chunky around the tummy. They're like, is she pregnant? I'm like, oh no, because she's anti-pregnancy. She doesn't want anybody to have kids. So why would she be, why would she be pregnant? But she's looking a little chunked. She's looking a little chunked. Maybe too many, too much processed food on the campaign trail with Mr. Bernie Sanders there. So just saying, I mean, I would not follow the AOC diet because she's looking a little chunky. But people that are following the RFK Jr. diet, people that have cut a lot of things out of their diet, I can tell that their face is cleaner, clearer. They feel that their hands they're not as dry. Their skin isn't as dry. They feel refreshed. They feel their stamina is better. And also, they say that you'll live longer if you eat better and if you have proper exercise. But I'm so happy that RFK Jr. is the HHS secretary. I'm so happy that he is pulling a lot of the crap and he's exposing a lot of the crap that's in our food. But again, if you're someone that's vaccinated, don't criticize someone that's not vaccinated. And I can tell you that I do have a lot of friends that are vaccinated and they do regret getting it. But just because you're vaccinated, that shouldn't deter you from dating someone who's unvaccinated. We want everybody to get married. We want everybody to have kids. If you're a young person and you just got married and you're 21 years old, don't wait till you're 30 to have kids, because it's going to become 30 and then it's going to become 35 and it's going to become 40 and it's going to be too late. So if you can't have children, try to have as many children as you can. Eat healthy, exercise, diet. That's basically what RFK Jr. is saying. That's what doctors are saying. That's what many people are saying around this country. And coming up after the break, we're just going to have some final thoughts. Coming right back after the break.
Mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up, because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution, because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
And this is Alexandra Levine live at the America's Pulse Network. Just some final thoughts for tonight. Don't forget our wonderful friend from the Conservative Corner, our good friend Seth Eisenberg. He has a GoFundMe, and we're going to put that slide up right there. There you go. GoFundMe/Conservative Corner host. As you know, our friend Seth is such an active guy, but he was in the hospital for 34 days. He got a very bad infection in his foot. He almost lost his foot. And they dug right into his foot. The infection went right into the bone. And he's had 5 surgeries, and he has not been able to work. His white blood cell count has gone up, but thank God he hasn't been back in the hospital. We pray he doesn't go back into that hospital. We pray that he goes back to work and that he is up and running. But of course, he has bills to pay, and he is a military guy. He's a veteran. He served our Navy, and we need to get back to him. Any little thing can help. We've already raised about close to $5,700. Right now, the count is $5,626. Our goal, and we'll put that slide up, if that slide is up there on the GoFundMe. So he's already raised $5,626. The goal is to get to $25,000, and that is not the final goal. The final goal is $100,000. Or we have to load that up right now. But yeah, there we go. So he's already raised $5,626. I'll be honest, there hasn't been a donation in a week. So please, guys, go to his GoFundMe. Go to help Jonah Eisenberg overcome health crisis. If people can give money to Carmelo Anthony, who is a murderer, if people can give $400,000, $500,000 to an illegal, MS-13 gang member, Kilmar Garcia, we can give money to Jonah Eisenberg. I want to get this final goal for him because he has done so much for us. He's a very active guy. He's the vice president treasurer of the Frederick County Conservative Club. His friend Fred Proffer, who's the president of the Frederick County Conservative Club, put together this GoFundMe. We need to give back to Jonah, Seth. We need to give back to our veteran. So please, guys, this is a great cause. This is someone who really needs our help. This is someone who has a mortgage to pay. He has a son that he supports. He hasn't been able to work because of his foot. And for his job, he has to be out on the field, and he hasn't been able to be out on the field. So please, guys, please go to Help Jonah Eisenberg Overcome Health Crisis. Go to this GoFundMe instead of Kilmar Garcia's GoFundMe and the Give, Send, Go with Carmelo Anthony. This is the guy you donate to. This is the GoFundMe you need to go to. This is the goal, 25K. Again, it's going to continue up. Our final goal is $100,000, but I want to get to that $25,000 goal as soon as possible so Jonah can really get up on his feet and we can really, really help him because he needs our help. And it is time that we get back to our veterans. Our veterans are suffering all over this great nation. And again, please, if you want to know more about Jonah Eisenberg, Seth Eisenberg, The Conservative Corner, you can follow us, like and subscribe. Go to @America's Pulse Network on Rumble, @America's Pulse Network on YouTube, @America's Pulse Network on X. And of course, don't forget to watch the rest of our network and some more of our shows. We have Damon Galdo with the Jersey Shore on Monday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. and Friday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Don't forget to follow @the Jersey Shore. Also, don't forget, if you want to hear more of FaceTime, don't forget to follow Tim Fazenbaker on his X account @America1 Tim Faze and on his YouTube at Tim Fazenbaker. And of course, his Facebook, which is rockin', has a lot of followers at Tim Fazenbaker on his Facebook. And of course, don't forget to follow me, Alexandra Levine, on Facebook, on my X account @Alexandra LEVI20, @ARLevine85 on Truth Social, @AirLevine85 on Instagram, and @Levine Consulting on YouTube. And don't forget to watch me on that White House lawn and at the White House press briefing room. As you know, I'm the White House correspondent for this network. It is a pleasure. It is an honor to be a White House correspondent. I'm so happy that I'm a part of the new conservative media. And again, we are not fake news. We are not mainstream media. We will report fairly. We will report the facts as it is given in real time. And of course, we will present real clips and full clips of what President Trump says, what the Vice President says, what Caroline Leavitt says, etc. Thank you guys so much. This has been a wonderful evening. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.